is your vision regarding social determinants of health? Do you believe the approach should be mainstreamed across the organization, or that there should be a group solely devoted to the topic? What concrete actions by the WHO do you consider could be most effective in supporting countries in their approach to social determinants of health, particularly regarding the 2030 agenda? I remind you the questions are also on screen.
Thank you very much for that very important question. I think we need to be reminded of the fact that inequalities of power, money, and resources, and the working and living conditions of people are one of the strongest determinants of health status achievement. It is not just healthy lifestyles, but it is also the social context which determines health. And we must be reminded that per capita income is one of the strongest determinants of health status achievement. One of the strongest interventions to reduce child mortality is increasing women's education. So my vision for the social determinants of health is grounded in that reality. I'm fully supportive of the actions articulated in the Rio Declaration, of PAHO's 5-year plan and the actions articulated therein, of the South American Health Ministers Council's 5-year plan, which is now coming to fruition, and the actions that are articulated there. The social determinants are a very salient aspect of the Sustainable Development Goals, with their focus on reducing inequalities. So I would say that the social determinants of health have to be mainstreamed across the organization. They needn't be siloed into one program. And I think that you, as have been the champions of the social determinants of health in terms of the intersectoral policies that you have embraced for a very long time. In terms of the concrete actions that I, as Director General, would promote, number one, I would promote intersectoral action and intersectoral policies, and I would provide the precise tools, the guidelines, the monitoring mechanisms, the means of evaluation in very concrete terms to countries. I would draw on the successful experiences of countries that have been the champions of promoting intersectoral action, and will forge South-South collaboration for action on the social determinants to achieve equity. And I think that your countries have championed it, not only with the institutional arrangements that you have developed in terms of the commissions, the interministerial panels, but also on the programmatic side, the cash transfer, the benefit schemes, and the social protection programs, and the manner in which the whole of government effort has been galvanized. I would showcase that much better for South-South collaboration for other parts of the world. I would, in addition, make sure that training is aligned to that, and that it is not just something written on a piece of paper and handed out. I would, in the spirit of promoting the social determinants of health, mandate disaggregation of data by age, by income, and by gender in all kinds of assessments and metrics, both in WHO's work in countries. I would be very keen on taking the proposal to the member states to have a global equity report on a yearly basis. And I would, of course, promote action on the neglected diseases of poverty because they help to overcome the inequity divide.
Thank you.
And of course, I would look at the social determinants also from the gender and equity lens, because I'd like to use them as the overarching lens through which all programs and policies in WHO are viewed.
Thank you, Dr. Nishtar. Dr. Ghebreyesus, please.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you very much. This is a very important issue. To understand the interlinkages, independence of all the social determinants, I think we should go into the family. The family needs well-being in terms of health. Family needs housing. A family needs modest employment. A family needs water and sanitation. Family needs all, if it's based in agriculture, support on that, and so on. So it's a must that we see things integrated. And that's why the Sustainable Development Goals is really important. That Sustainable Development Goal is a very good opportunity to really move forward. And in sustainable development goals, one of the issues is, as has been said in the question, it's multisectoral. And it has to be mainstreamed, actually. It should not be a group, but it should be mainstreamed. Like what we say, health in all policies. And for that, a mainstreamed multisectoral approach is very important. And the other important element we should really see when we say health in all policies is political, the dimensions we have in inequality, they are political, they can be expressed in political, economic, social, and cultural. So we need to go into the root causes of the problem. The problems we face in our world now is, its root cause is inequitable distribution of power. And it manifests itself in the four dimensions I said. And addressing all these dimensions is important. Not only that, it expresses itself also at all levels, starting from the family, to the region, to the country, and even global power maldistribution. So we should take this at heart, and we need to take this as a mindset that can help us to understand more the SDGs. And the other thing I would do with WHO is, WHO itself should depart from this traditional disease-oriented approach. It should see the well-being. Then when it starts from there, it will see also the relationship between health and the other issues and see it politically. So WHO should not really push like what it was doing technically, but there should be a balance of technical and political leadership. And I have experience on this, by the way, the family approach, where I was advocate for climate change, which is one of the determinants, and environment, and also for the empowerment of women, because one of the inequality or the unequal distribution of power is expressed actually through cultural or economic that affects women. And understanding that, we made in Ethiopia a good progress, especially in climate change, and also on gender equality. If there is that at heart, means there is political commitment, and if there is political commitment, I think we can address the challenges we're facing, especially in social determinants of health. This region started, by the way, ahead of many of the other regions. The conditional cash transfer that was mentioned is one good example, because the root cause is poverty and inequality. And that's why you're trying to address that and see health as a component of that. Thank you.
Thank you, Doctor. I would like Dr. David Nabarro.
Thank you very much indeed. When I started my professional life as a doctor, mostly working in South Asia, I very quickly saw that the patients who returned to my health clinics were very often coming from homes where there was very limited income, where particularly during the hungry season there was not enough food to feed the family, where the men were often away and the women were looking after the family on their own, where the interval between children was small, where often families were subject to really bad living conditions because of the conditions they were put under by their employers. And right from the beginning, I thought to myself, I don't want to be the kind of doctor who just treats those who are sick. I want to be the kind of doctor who works on the underlying conditions that influence health. And that's really what I've been doing all my life. And so my vision regarding social determinants is that that's the center of health. That's the center of what we all need to be working on. And so what do I want to see happening? I want to see a transformation in public health. I want to see the discipline turn into where it should be, which is looking at how all the different societal, economic, environmental, and political factors impinge on the ability of people to maintain good health and achieve their potential. Because that's the most important asset that any of us have, is our health. And so I actually think WHO needs to lead the transformation in public health. And what actions do I want WHO to do? I wanted to come in alongside all of you, some of the most courageous political actors for health that I've ever met. You are not accepting that public health is just about the easy stuff, immunization or spreading oral rehydration. Many of you are recognizing that to produce health, reducing this terrible diabetes epidemic, or dealing with the problems of violence in the home because of alcohol use, or trying to understand how to reduce demands for substance abuse and narcotic misuse, that you actually have to deal with how society is impinging on people's health. You have to take on sometimes interests in other parts of your governments. You have to take on interests in the private sector. You have to be ready to deal with some of the communities which are almost impossible to access because of gangs controlling how people live. Because that's where the conditions around health are generated, but also where the real opportunities for improvement exist. That's the future. That's the kind of WHO I want. And it's going to be a WHO that's not scared of the politics of health.